Hello and welcome. My name is Will Dawson, and this is the 18th video of my extension of Matthew Marquardt's most excellent tutorial series on Construct 3. In this video, we're going to set up an end credits screen. So at the beginning, in the last video, we did the opening menu screen, and now we need to probably have something at the end of the game when you win that is kind of similar. So I'm going to start by actually just taking the menu screen that we have here that we did in the last video is pretty close to what we want for the end. So I'm just going to duplicate that. I'm going to grab my level 0 over here and duplicate it. And instead of giving it a level number, I could have it be called level 3. But I don't know if I want to stick in an actual level 3. I don't know. This thing might end up being 5 or 10 or 50 levels. So I'm going to actually just call it end. All right. So now, before I go and mess it up, make sure you open it, because really we're still looking at level 0, right? So open this, get ourselves a tab up here. Here's our ending. Okay. We don't want a play or quit button. We have those already here in the opening screen. So I'm just going to take the play button and delete it, quit button and delete it. Okay, and of course, this is the ending. So let's take our Swamp Adventure title here. This will still be the title of the screen that we're doing, so I'm not going to make a different object type. We don't need a different object type. We just need to be able to know that the object that we're looking at is the title of the screen that we're looking at. And I think that that's not different enough from what the text title is in general across the game, because we're still using the text title game object over here, which appears in several scenes now. It appears in our opening scene and our ending scene. So I don't want to grab the thing from over here and change its text, because that's going to change its text on our opening scene. So instead, I'm just going to grab the one that's in. Notice it when I click over here, it highlights it. When I click on the one over here, then okay. So it's highlighted over here, and I don't want to edit its properties while it's highlighted. Instead, I'm going to click on that. When I click on it, notice that this deselects, and that's what we want. We want to edit the instance of that, not the master that's over here as the entire object type. So Swamp Adventure is not what we want it to be called. We want it to be called And They Lived Happily Ever After. You know, or whatever. Or maybe just the end. Whatever you think, at the end of your game, what should be the final thing that gets said? The end. I like that. That looks fine. So that is perfect. Just grab something that's not in the scene so it deselects this. That looks pretty nice. Okay. Now we need to get our credits in here. So what I'm going to do is go over here. We did kind of a lot of work to get this in place, right? We had the color that we had to put in here. We had to get the right font. We had to get the right size, and I want to just copy all that stuff. So rather than creating a new object out of here, I'm just going to grab the one that we already have and clone it. So here's our text title. I'm just going to right click on it and clone. Now that didn't give me anything else in the scene. It just gave me a cloned object type in our project list. So I'm going to just rename this. Let's call it credits. Okay, so there's our credits. We don't have that in the scene yet, so I'm just going to grab it and drop it in here. And of course, the text is still matching what the master text said over here. And that was called, or the text was Swamp Adventure, the actual title for the thing. So in this one, because this is actually the credits. It doesn't matter if we change, if we're highlighting the master. I think I'm actually going to make a point of editing the master right now. So that one, let's go down here where it says Swamp Adventure. And how many different jobs do we have going here that we need to account for? We have some level designer, right? And who did that? Well, you did that. And then to go to the next line, I'm going to hit enter. Except that that just closes my window. That's going to be frustrating if you don't get what that's doing at the moment. So let's open that back up. Enter basically just hits this OK button, and that's not what we want at all. So in order to actually use a regular enter like you would in a text editor, you're going to have to hit Shift Enter. So if I hold Shift and Enter, it does go to the next line like you would expect Enter to normally do. So you'll probably swear at this a bunch of times while you work at it. But okay, so you did the level design. Guess what? You also did the programming. There we go. And I hit enter again because I will never get used to having to hold Shift Enter. Shift Enter. There we go. Okay. What else do we need to account for? We need to account for art. And that was by, I'm going to just put in the website. craftpicks.com. Shift Enter. There we go. And if you're using the music and sound effects that I put on there, we're going to need to credit me. So music and sound effects are a little bit interesting because if you try to lump it all together and just say audio or something like that, then people tend to think you're talking about the technical mix of the sounds, getting everything right, or that you're talking about sound effects, or both of those. But people tend to compartmentalize music separately, so they really should be listed separately. And if you're working on a team where there's more people that other than just yourself, and you're not sure how they should be credited, again, like it said in. For those of you who are in my class, I asked you guys to look at the extra credits video about credits, and they said, yeah, just ask. Ask the people in your team how they want to be credited. So, yeah, somebody who does music and sound effects is definitely going to want to be credited for those separately. So, music, Will Dawson. I hit enter. Okay. And I'll just put sound. That's probably fine. Again, as the extra credits video pointed out, there isn't really super standardized ways of crediting this. We could have said sound effects. We could have said audio. Those are all kind of equivalent terms unless you're in certain circles and they mean radically different things. So yeah, depending on who you're standing next to, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and it changes. So best you can do is do your best, right? But I think that's pretty good. So we've got everything in there, and this is not showing it all because our box is too small. So if I was to expand this box, there we go. Now, whoa, now that stuff is starting to show up. Notice it's like you can see this black outline here. That's the entire size of our screen. So we can make that a little bit bigger. Good. This is not all fitting, right? So we could take the end and slide it up. We can take this tile map background thing and slide it up a little bit. I think this is still too big, is just all there is to that. So I'm going to take the art here, or the text, and let's make it smaller. So right now our size is 16, and I'm going to go 3/4 that size and make it 12, and we'll just see what that looks like. And I think I like that a lot better. The end kind of dominates, and this Yeah, I think I like the flavor of that. Okay, now I would like to extend the tile map background so that it is a background for the rest of the text as well. So I'm gonna get in here. You know what? This whole tile map is gonna need to be adjusted a little bit. It's too small. This box is too small for what I want it to do. I'm gonna get a little inventive with the shape of this thing. So first, going to make this big enough for what I want to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that it pops up and goes around to the end and then has a bigger square for the rest of it. So let's see what I can do. Okay, so oops. I think that right there, the way that that kind of frames the end is exactly what I'm looking for. So then I'm just going to need to pencil in. Yeah, that'll be fine. Some corners here. And some. Got to get my inside corners here. And here. And get rid of the extra one there. So you see what I'm kind of doing with this. So I'm going to just real quick finish that up. I think that's too far down. I'm going to put my bottom corner there. Okay, and then some dirt pack in the middle. Okay. That fits on my screen pretty well. I'm going to just take what I'm looking at right now is that the top of my tile map up here is up against the black line edge of my screen, and the bottom has got some space. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball that down to center it, just make it look kind of right. Now the end needs to come down to match it. That looks pretty good. And the rest of my text needs to come down as well. I think it's still too big. I'm going to change the size of that text again. Again, because I know what I'm going to do in a moment. I'm going to change it on the master. So my credits here, I'm going to change that to 10. And let's see about that. Yeah, I like that better. Going to just pull the size of my box in here a little bit tighter. Okay. There, that should be less annoying. That, I think, is fine. Just grab something that's not in the scene so I can deselect. Okay, that looks all right. I don't like visually how it all lines up on one side and is all strange on this side. So let's try something here. I'm going to go and find its horizontal alignment, and instead of aligning everything on the left side, let's do a center align. And how do we like that? I like that better. Still not excited about it. So here I think is what's going to be my actual solution. So far I've done everything to make sure that whenever I've been editing this, I've been editing it on the master, right? So what I want to do now is I want to actually grab a second one of this. And what I'm going to do, notice I've got two exactly the same here. What I want to do is I want to have it so that this dash here is exactly down the middle of everything. Let me just show you what I mean. I'm not feeling too eloquent at the moment. So I'm going to take this one. Now I am not editing the master one, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all the names off of one and I'm going to delete all the titles off of the other, so that we have the names and the titles in separate boxes that we can align separately. So in the first one here, we're just going to leave, I'm going to leave the dash in and just take the name off. The reason why I'm not just showing you how to do this right the first time, to get to where I knew I was going to go from the beginning, is because I want you to see the thought process of how I am making something, and then in the moment I'm deciding that I like it or don't like it, and making some adjustments to make sure that it works the way that because I want it to work the way that I envisioned, right? Which may or may not mean that it looks the way I thought that it should look. It might just mean that it should feel the way that I thought that it should feel. And a lot of times that's going to mean that it isn't exactly what you thought it was supposed to be, if it's going to actually work the way that you thought that it should work. So the names, I'm going to align those to the left, and the titles, I'm going to align those to the right. And let's see, let's try and put the dashes right down the center. That looks pretty good. And just to make sure that we've got perfect alignment, we can look at the position here. The Y position is, let's call that 61 on that one. And let's make it 61 on this one. Okay. There we go. So it still looks a little bit like Level Designer and Programmer are sticking out super far compared to art and all that. But I think this looks as clean as anything we're going to get here. I'm not sure it's perfectly centered. I'm just being nitpicky here. So I'm going to grab that one and this one. And I did that by holding Shift. I think that's centered better. So in order to select more than one, I grab this one and then I hold Shift to select the second one. So as you're working, you might decide, hey, you know what? I got everything exactly the way I want, except that now I want the background, the text, everything to be shifted to the left a little bit, because I realize now that I didn't have it centered or something. So you can hold Shift and continue selecting things. Notice I've got my text up here, my text over here, my text here, and the tile map that I'm using for the background. And I can actually, now that I've got all of them selected together, I can use them like they're all stuck together. I can slide them around that way, and that looks pretty nice. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Now we just need to have this take us back to the beginning. So we're going to need an event for that. Slide all the way to the bottom. Let's add a new event. So I'm going to have the system. Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to have it check to see when we load a level if it is the end level. And if it's the end level, it's just going to wait for a certain period of time, and then automatically, with no button, no nothing, it's just going to take us back to the beginning. So the system on the start of the layout, there we go. And then we're going to have it, let's see, we're going to add another condition. And that's going to be that the system is going to compare two values, right? And the two values that we're going to compare is not, so the first one is the layout name. It has to be equal to, and what we named it, here it is, end with a capital E, right? So, and notice it doesn't like that at all. So what we have to do is put that in quotes. XP, what? Capital E, and D. Okay, so it has to match exactly that text. If it does, then this will trigger correctly. If the layout that we load is called L1 or something like that, then this is not going to trigger because this is not true. So add our action. We are going to first, we're going to have the system wait. Let's see, I think that's way at the bottom. Wait. Maybe 5 seconds before it continues. 5 seconds at the end is not excruciating or anything. It gives people enough time to actually see what the text is, but it doesn't keep you there forever. Now, as always, when we end a layout and go to the next one, we're going to want the audio to stop. So audio, stop all. There we go. And then we're going to want the system to go to the next layout. And the next layout is the beginning, the main menu. So people can play again or quit or do whatever they want. So now, I think that's pretty much it. Let's test the thing. So here we are. Let's see our end. I'm just going to hit play. Got music. There's all of our credits. And it switches. Music hasn't doubled or anything like that. This is exactly how we want it to act. Perfect. Okay, the only thing that we want to do right now, I think, is level 2 here. We have not set that. So for the moment, for the purposes of this tutorial, level 2 is going to be the last level, right? So when we have our actual portal here, not the portal stone, but the activated portal that's off the side here, we need to tell that to, let's see, that's an instance variable, the destination, right? We haven't set its destination. Its destination needs to be end so that it will take us to that screen. And that is all there is to that. As long as that text there, the destination instance variable, matches perfectly, capitalization, everything, with the name of our end title layout, then we are in good shape there. Okay, guys. I'm not going to do it right now, but yes, definitely test to make sure that when you get to the end of level 2, it takes you to the end credit screen, and that the end credit screen takes you back to the beginning, so that you have an actual tested, everything goes to all the right places all the way through your game kind of a thing happening. For those of you that are in my class, I would like a screenshot of your end right here. So don't have everything highlighted like that. I keep clicking on this destructible wall because it's not in the scene and it just deselects everything. So yeah, take a screenshot, something like this, attach it to the assignment and get it turned in, and I will see you in the next video.